Hi everyone, in this video I've collected the top anime for those who don't watch anime, or rather for newbies. Collected the top Orientarua on what likes usually all, for example, comedy, fantasy, action, plot twists, and so on. Do not judge. If here will be popular anime remind the top for those who do not watch anime and do not know where to start. Well, I will not hesitate to ask you to support me by subscribing and liking, and have a nice viewing experience. The first anime we have is suitable for those who like fights. School life where 26-year-old Takemichi Hanagaki is a loser. His landlady swears, the manager at work is always nagging, even the little kids bully him. On the news, he learns of the death of a girl he once dated. He gets hit by a train. But that's not the end of it. Takemichi mysteriously finds himself in the past on the exact day his whole life went wrong. Maybe he still has a chance to make things right. Tokyo Avengers anime. The following anime about sports and basketball. Generation Miracle, the strongest of the strongest, 5 brilliant basketball players, whose names rattled at the most famous school tournaments during their studies in middle school. But it was time to enter high school. The team broke up. The heroes went their separate ways. The Siren High School Basketball Club has a new player, the unassuming quiet Kuroko, whose truth has shocked his new teammates. Kuroko Tetsuya is the sixth of the Wonder Generation, whose talent for hiding out of sight right during a match causes no one to notice him. At Siren, Kuroko meets Kagami, whose dream is to become the best basketball player in Japan. In Siren, Kagami meets Kagami, whose dream is to become the best basketball player in Japan. Kuroko agrees to shadow him and helps his new friend realize his dream. But first, they must face off against the Wonder Generation, Kuroko's former teammates. And that's where the soccer anime meets you. Japanese officials are concerned that the national soccer team has once again lost the World Cup. Japan's reputation is at risk, and so the officials decide to hire an eccentric coach, Jinpadi, who is able to solve the problem. Jinpadi creates a secret project, Blue Lock, in which 300 of Japan's best strikers will participate. One of the famous participants is Yoichi Asagi. The athlete is concerned with only one goal, and that is to become the world's best player. Except that in the last game, the boy made a fatal mistake. Asagi relied on his partner, but he failed to put the ball in the goal. Yoichi adhered to the rules of team play, which resulted in a loss in the match. After the failed game, the young man received an invitation from an unknown company. In a dejected state, the soccer player went for an interview, but it turned out that he got into a secret project, Blue Lock. Agreeing to all the conditions, the teenager became a participant in an unusual experiment, at the end of which there will be only one winner. In this anime there will be war, revenge. Vikings have been legendary since ancient times, and for good reason, because this nation has unique fighting qualities. From a young age, boys mastered the skill of weapons and engaged in grueling training, to be many times tougher than the enemy. The North Seas have always been under Viking control, and few other nations wanted to fight over these territories. In Vinland lives a capable boy named Thorfinn, and his father is a true legend among the Vikings. The strongest warrior has always protected his people from enemy attack. But one day Vinland was attacked by a bloodthirsty conqueror. A skeleton came to these lands to not only plunder them, but to slaughter the entire population. Only Thorfinn was left alive, but his father was sneakily killed. The boy promised that he would gain strength and the necessary skills to take revenge on Askeladd. To realize the plan, the boy had to join the enemy's squad and start wandering together with him. The bright boy is sure that the day will come when the bloodthirsty conqueror will fall from his sword. Thorfinn is ready to endure all the hardships and humiliations to achieve what he wants. Another revenge and mafiosi. America got quite rich after the First World War. because selling foodstuffs and weapons to Europe is a lucrative business. But the politicians made a terrible mistake, namely, they banned the sale of alcohol. Criminal organizations saw good income in this, and therefore they began the underground trade of alcohol. Prohibition created good conditions for the emergence of powerful mafia organizations, which quickly harassed officials and law enforcement agencies. The Vampiro family is one of the leading mafia organizations, and therefore it allows itself to do terrible things. Another victim of gangster strife was Avillo, who lost his parents and favorite brother due to the fault of known mafiosi. After some time, the man decides to become on the path of revenge. To implement the plan, the Avenger needs to get as close as possible to the head of the Vampiro family. Soon, purposeful Avillo becomes a member of the mafia, which killed his family. The man is ready to do the dirtiest work to get the credit of trust and respect of the mafia syndicate. A head of the vigilante will have to live through a lot of creepy moments, as well as commit immoral acts. And my very first anime that I would advise everyone to watch first. A cornered humanity lives out its last days under the oppression of the Titans, mysterious creatures that terrorize the human race. The survivors live behind the walls of a large settlement with its own government, representing the last stronghold of centralized power in the world. A young boy named Eren also lives there, spending his childhood in relative safety until a freak event occurs. The Titans break into the city, destroying everything in their path. After the giants invade, Eren becomes an orphan and vows to destroy every last one of the Titans. On the way to his goal, he and his friends join a scouting squad engaged in forays beyond the wall. The hero doesn't know yet how many mysteries the outside world holds. A manga adaptation of the adventures of Eren and his companions. And of course, let's not forget about the comedic action. We're all used to comics being filled with various villains, madmen with a plan to take over the planet, and other troubles. The city of Zet City has long been used to this kind of events, constant invaders from other worlds and other disasters. The most important thing is that always in time there was a superhero, which will cope with all the problems and can defeat all the villains. Such is a guy named Saitama, except that he is out of the general background in the life of a typical comic book town. He is short, cannot behave pathos enough, and does not speak high-minded speeches. Moreover, our hero's appearance consists of simple clothes and not a single hair on his head. In the past, Saitama was an ordinary man who lost his job. Only thanks to his patience and constant training, he was able to become the strongest in the world in 3 years. To defeat the enemy, he only needs to hit the opponent once, as he will be defeated. But now he has a serious problem. There are no worthy opponents. And now all this superhero life has turned into a real routine for him. Another comedic and fantastic masterpiece in this new world, I'll hold my head up. Meet a virgin, recluse, and unemployed 34 years old. On the day of his parents' funeral, he is kicked out of his house, and a little later he is killed by a truck. It would seem that this is the end of the fairy tale, but no. He finds himself in the body of a baby already in another fantasy world. The scum whose life was not worth a dime is reborn as Rudius Greyrath. Now he's certainly not going to let himself hit rock bottom. Ahead of the young Greyrath will meet an eternally young sorceress, a beautiful elf, a fierce noble maiden, and many other very different creatures. And where can you go without exciting adventures? A former recluse starts the book of his life with a clean slate. In a future world, children growing up without parents in isolated plantations have no other role than to drive giant machines, franxx, and use them to fight the screaming dragons, monsters that threaten the remnants of humanity living underground. Even though children are given numbers instead of names, one boy decides to call himself Hero and makes up names for his friends. As Hero prepares to pilot the franxx, he fails the test. The situation is saved by a mysterious girl with horns whose code is O2. She names Hero her lover and offers to pilot the franxx together, which leads to dizzying consequences. Comedy and romance, horimiya. High school student Kyoko Hori seems to have everything one could wish for, as she is smart, beautiful, and the favorite of the entire class. However, even perfect at first glance, people have secrets. And one of them is Hori. The girl is terrified that her classmates will find out that outside of school she turns into a real housewife, on which always missing at work parents through all the household chores and younger brother Soda. One day, a stranger appears on her doorstep, holding Soda's hand, and he also knows Hori. It is immediately revealed that this guy is actually Hori's unassuming classmate, Miyamura. What happens when the popular beauty and the gray mouse meet? Friendship, love. A high school comedy full of youthful energy. Well, friends, this is the end. I hope that you watch these anime and you like them, and I hope for your support by subscribing and liking. For you, it's a second, and for me, motivation to shoot for you content. If you want more such anime or in any genre, then write and I will pick up the best options. Well,
bye-bye!